Hello, I am Dell and welcome to what you need to know about home studios for social media. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to build upon the previous episode where we set up our audio pipes, our virtual cables, if you will, and we're going to connect some key software that you're probably going to use. Hello and welcome to this show. Now this show we're going to rely on the previous show where we set our shortcuts up for the control panel and the audio, and we installed our audio pipes or virtual cables, and we renamed them something that will help us remember as we set this up how it works. Now we're going to connect a couple of pieces of software. Now there are three basic methods of working with audio. The first of which is what we call global audio, which is what it sounds like. It's always there. You put it there, it's always there. Now, the other one we would use would be called a scene audio, which you can put it in and it only comes in when the scene comes in. And the third, of course, is a audio mixer, an audio mixer that exists and you do your mixing on a separate hard device. Now, I'm also going to talk a little bit when we do the Zoom portion, and Zoom is just one piece of software that we use. Your virtual meeting software, Skype, Google Meets, any of these like this should work because the way we interface it in. I happen to use Zoom simply because GoToMeeting works good. There's a lot of different softwares that will do it. If they'll run on your PC and you can do it locally, it should work for you. But we're gonna pipe that in. We'll also work with Audacity, which is an open source user-supported software, and we will also set up VLC. Now we won't do too much with any of these softwares in this video. We just want to get them installed and show you how to run through that connection through Windows in a Windows. This happens to be Windows 10. So let's go ahead and switch over, and I'll show you the console. Very, very minimal, because I'm going to use this same setup and I don't want to have too many things that we pick through on this side, and we want to get that set up and ready to go. Now I'm going to open up this settings pop-up. Now general, we're not going to mess with any of the general, the stream, or the output, the video, or the hotkeys, any of this. The only thing we're going to do in the limit of this video, to keep it short, is pull up audio. And you see we have one microphone input, which is our Yeti mic we have above us. That's what we got going on. So without it, I couldn't record this using OBS. So that's installed. Now the rest of these you see, these various other inputs are disabled. Now if I wanted to have any of Windows normal sounds come through that would normally come through a speaker, I would turn this on and I would set what that is. Generally, it would be default. There are reasons we'll discuss in the future not to do that. But what I do want to do is I want to use this one that says System Cable D. So we're going to click that for the system sounds. Now I can, of course, open the system, take the system's sounds from Windows and pipe them into OBS and capture them. Now I need to also have some form of a monitor. Now, because I'm not actually doing fancy scene transitions, I'm not wearing my earphones because I don't need to hear voices that are there when some scenes are on and others are gone, and back and forth and prep, nor lead-in music or that kind of thing, or advertisements like I do in the live stream where it comes up and I have to listen for that audio to go away. So you do need some kind of a monitor. So we have that set up. I think that's about all that we need out of this. I will go ahead and close that down. Switch back. Now, let's talk about the system sound and the Odyssey. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the right panel. And now we see this program. And this program you can use to play audio clips or music, anything. It's a open source audio program. Now I have something loaded, and if this goes well, we should be able to hear this audio clip when I play it through the speaker, and then we'll have to set Odyssey up. Let's try that. This is a test recording of Audacity for demonstration purposes. Okay, see, we got it because we haven't interconnected anything yet. Well, just like we have in this panel where it says Yeti microphone, I can drive multiple pieces of software from a single source, like this microphone. So I have one mic output going to 3 sources, no mixer whatsoever. Now I do have some local audio control down here. And you see we picked up, when we installed the other global channel, the audio from cable D. Let's go ahead and show you how to rename that. Let's rename desktop audio. And from any one of these scenes in this setup, the system is piped in. Now I can turn it off if I hit the mute button, and it will be off until the next time I turn it on. Now if I go back to my Odyssey, that's our microphone. The other side of Odyssey says speakers, rear speaker. Now if I turn around and take this and convert this to, should say system cable D. Now when I play it, if you'll watch down here, we should see, I'll turn that down a little bit, you should see and should hear by default that same audio clip, not going through the microphone, but going directly into OSB. Let's try that, see if that works. This is a test recording of Audacity for demonstration purposes. Well, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it does. Now that's all of that. So that's how we pipe Odyssey. And let's pull up VLC. And I'll have to switch back over to the left panel, which is where it should come up naturally. Now here I am with the VLC Player. It's much like any other player. VLC happens to be another one of those open source user supported programs. Now to connect its audio, we're just going to go up here to the audio button, pull the audio device and set it for one of our pipes or virtual cables. In this case, it's already set for VLC cable C. So now, anytime this particular player plays, it automatically goes into cable C. If I wanted to hear it play to the speakers, I would have to come down here and take the audio device and change it to speakers. In my case, it says speakers rear high definition device. So we would play that way. Now, the video then, of course, comes up to us in the screen mapping while we pull that over, when we mirror a section of the screen to that. Zoom, and I have Zoom installed, so it's down here at the bottom. We'll bring that up. Now, one of the things that we're not going to go through is intricacies of setting up the video mapping to a scene, but we're going to set up its audio and its video. I saw a video earlier when I was trying to figure out how to do this myself that said this is the correct way to set Zoom up for OBS, and it was totally not correct. First of all, if you did what they showed you, it did not work. And second of all, it didn't make sense. You never want to use, this is opinion, this is my opinion, you never ever want to use your monitor channel for anything other than, what's that? A monitor. That's what it's there for. It's not a backdoor to mix with. Now, we do know that in my previous video, we pulled up 5 audio cables, 5 virtual audio cables. I'll call them pipes from time to time. Now we have a meeting here. And to integrate Zoom, I'm not going to show you all the video, but I'll show you how we got both the audio and video into OBS. We'll bring this up. I have to slide this one over to the side. And we see video. Now, OBS has the capability to have a virtual camera. And I've played with a virtual camera over a period of time, and I have a lot of trouble with it, quite honestly, locking up either OBS or Zoom. So my advice to you that you can accept or reject simply is use your own camera for the application. Use a dedicated camera for Zoom and leave OBS alone as far as the video goes. That way you don't end up locking screens. So if I pull up the video, I have a lovely picture. I'm off enjoying the island breeze. And if you'll check the two of me in your feed right now, you'll see I still have my same lovely red shirt, but I have different backgrounds. And what's behind that, of course, is a green screen overlay. And if you want to see how to do a green screen in Zoom, it's pretty straightforward. Background and filters, bring that up. We can have northern lights if you prefer. But what this allows you to do is keep this channel separate. And when we go into how you would use this in multiple applications, I'll show you how that works as well. I'll go ahead and leave the northern lights on there. But now let's talk about the audio, because that's what this video is about. Well, just like before, when we were talking about that speaker, multiple speakers being driven off of the same stereo output, because you have one voltage source, many loads, you don't get to do multiple voltage sources or inputs into a single output without going through some form of a mixer, which will take care of that. We don't have one of those. We don't need one of those in this configuration, but we do need to be able to pipe my voice from here to my audience or my on-screen talent if I'm playing engineer, or my interviewee if I'm talking to someone on the other side. They need to be able to hear me. So all I have to do is pick my microphone and put it to that software. Just like we put our microphone to the Odyssey, we put the microphone to Zoom. There's nothing exciting about that. There's nothing hard about that. It's so simple. Even I figured it out. But when it comes to our audio, we come up here and we pull one of our predefined audio pipes or virtual cables, and we choose the one that we've named Zoom Cable F, because it's easy for us to remember if we're in a panic and we have something stalled out during a live feed, to be able to pick up the correct source. And it also gives you a visual real quickly when you look into the software. Let's see, what have we done? We've shown Odyssey, we've shown Zoom, we've shown VLC, we've hooked a microphone up, and we've hooked the system up. Let's see what a runtime is. We're at 14 minutes. Let's see if we squeeze one more thing in. Now, we were talking about that default. When we look at our audio, we set it up to pipe for OBS to expect cable D to be the default audio source from the system. That's not necessarily the default audio in the system. If I were to change it to default, whatever Windows has as the system, the default playback device, it's going to show up in our system audio as it comes. And that's inconvenient for me, so I prefer to have it set to cable D. If we pull up sound, how we separate the system audio is we come up here to the playback side. Let me slide it over where I can see myself a little bit better. It's right above my little head. Okay. Speaker rear is the default. So anything, any error message, anything that Windows wants to toot a horn on is going to go through whatever is called default. In this case, it's the rear speakers. Now, if you don't want to accidentally have something play, like you're on the internet and you're looking up a web page and an ad pops up and starts talking, this is a way that you can help control it. Yes, you can always turn off the speaker if you have a switched speaker and not go to the microphone. But if it's piped into OBS, it's going to play through OBS and it's going to be recorded on your stream if that's the way you have it. But I have speakers rear, and we set up our system default audio to be cable D. So now if I click this and say set as default, all the system sounds will go to cable D, and we saw in the setup, we've got cable D set up as the system sound in the computer, or if I may switch right back, down here at the bottom. You see, this is the system sounds. We don't have any websites open or anything like that. Now, there's one additional thing you can always remember to turn it off here on your desktop. as long as you're using global audio. And then turn it on when you're actually playing a video or something like that that would use that through, say, YouTube or Rumble or something of that nature. Now, if we click on the gear, we're going to have, I'm going to go ahead and save that, close that out. If I click upon the gear and do advanced properties, let me slide this just immediately down below. I'll hide my little self. Okay, now you should be able to see this audio panel only have two elements. Okay, I have the Yeti, and then I have the system. Now we have up to 6 tracks if we do the MKV output. And I don't know that you need this unless you're actually going to run multiple tracks after the effect. If you don't assign a track, like this one right here, it says System Cable D, if I were to turn all of the tracks off, it will not record in my final recording. I have to assign it to a chord. Or if I'm using MP4, I only record one audio track. Now we have these connections, monitor off. So this is no earphones, and monitor out is record it, save it to our stream, save it to our recording, and let me hear it when we play it. So there we go with that. That's global audio, and it's fairly straightforward. We're at 1956. That's it. By the time we shoot an intro to this, we'll be 20 minutes. Thank you. Have a great day.